Now, a higher minimum wage may be something of a double-edged sword. California is one of the most expensive places to live in the United States. People there need to make $53,000 a year on average just to cover their expenses. That's according to online lender Sophie. Someone working 40 hours a week would need to earn $25 an hour after taxes to afford that. And some economists worry a higher minimum wage, though, would only lead to one, rising prices, pressure on small businesses, and ultimately lower employment. Michael Reich is the economics professor at the University of California in Berkeley, and he joins us now. Great to have you on the show. So the threats from firms and franchisees would say exactly that, I think, which is we're going to hire less, we're going to reduce the hours for the ones that we are employing, and we'll ultimately have to raise prices for consumers. Highly alarmist. What is the actual response that we tend to see and you expect?
Right. Well, employers in the United States have always howled about an upcoming minimum wage increase, so this is nothing new. It's only just a more dramatic increase because it's all on one day, excuse me, and it covers so many workers. But I don't think it's out of range with previous minimum wage increases. And you have to keep in mind that the minimum wage for all workers in California is already $16. And in many parts of the state, like Los Angeles, it's over $17. In the San Francisco Bay Area, it's over $18 already. And many workers in the industry are getting paid more than the current minimum or the old minimum wage. So the increase to $20 is not a 25% increase in labor costs. It's more like a 5% increase in labor costs. And labor costs are only about a third of overall costs. So when you think about what the operating cost pressure is on the industry, it's 1/3 of 5%, which is less than 2%. That means a $5 hamburger would cost a dime more. A $3 taco would cost a nickel more. That's easily absorbable by consumers. They're not going to buy fewer hamburgers or tacos because of those differences. What individual franchisees don't get is that this is a cost increase for all their competitors, not just for them. And so what usually happens with these minimum wage increases is there are small price increases. I don't expect to see a decline in employment.
But you make a great point there, which is ordinarily when you see a blanket raise or rise in the minimum wage, it applies to everybody. So it applies to your competitors too. But what's sort of puzzling to me about this is why fast food workers deserve support, and I mean more than other low income or low waged workers, and also why smaller operators aren't included perhaps in this as well, or those that work for smaller operators. I understand the challenges for the business. It's sort of, to me, creating all sorts of distortions which could have an impact perhaps on those trying to hire in other places.
Well, there have been distortions for a long time. The large franchises have kept wages down for decades, and that's only starting to change. In the last decade, California's actually increased the statewide minimum wage by 100%. It's doubled it from 2013 to 2024. So there are wage increases in place for other workers, not just fast food. Fast food does, though, have the lowest wage of any major industry, and it has quite a few problems with scheduling of the workers each week, and also with workplace injuries and illnesses. And of course, part of the answer is that it's not just a matter of who deserves to have a higher minimum wage, it's also how can one best organize, how did labor best organize and achieve this in Sacramento with the governor. And it may be that the $20 will pass on, will be spread to other areas. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. When I think about McDonald's and Starbucks, which is obviously some of the names that are mentioned, I think about their ability and deep pockets to promote technologies like automation. Do you think steps like this will accelerate automation?
Well, we've looked at that in a number of different studies, and the economists have looked at that. And we find automation taking place whether or not there's a minimum wage increase. So if you now can order online or at a kiosk and so on, the companies can put that technology in practice wherever they are. It's really a cost. It is a cost-saving item, but it's one that goes on whether or not there's a minimum wage. I think the decline in the cost of capital, or sorry, in the cost of technology is much, much greater than the increase in the cost of labor here. So those technological changes are going to take place anyway. Where they don't take place is in preparation of food. That's turned out to be much harder to automate than on the business builds and order side.
That's such an important point. The decline in the cost of technology far more significant than the rise in the cost of labor. Michael,
Right.
Fantastic to chat to you, sir. Thank you so much.